When I first started raising rabbits 3 years ago, I was at the fair and I met a woman and we got to talking and she said, I used to raise rabbits and then one day it got over 100 and all 90 of my rabbits died in one day and I don't raise rabbits anymore. In the following 3 years, I have had many conversations with people who say, I used to raise this or that farm animal, but I don't anymore because it was too much work or I didn't realize how expensive it would be, or they all died. And yet, if you go on Instagram and search #homestead, 1.8 million posts will pop up. But if you search homestead fails, you will find 12. Not 12 million, but 12 posts. And most of them aren't actually fails. Now, in my experience and what I've gleaned from all I've read and heard, where one finds homestead fails is a lack of preparation and design. In this day and age of Instagram and Pinterest, it's all about how things are photographed and not about how they function. And you can't keep plants and animals alive by painting them white and adding light. Trust me, it just doesn't work. So this evening, I'm going to tell you a couple ways my little homestead farm has failed from poor design and how I fix them. So, fail number 1 is waste. Every animal does it. And guess what? It's not only smelly, ugly, and everywhere, it can also kill your animals. After 24 hours, parasites start growing in the feces and then get into the animal's intestines and cause liver coccidiosis. And the pee. The ammonia in rabbit pee can irritate the bacteria in a rabbit's nose and cause the deadly and very contagious pasteurellosis. Most people don't design for the easy and proper disposal of waste, and therefore they and their animals end up ankle deep in shit. My first rabbitry started like this. I had indoors, and even though I had a sloped poo chute, I still found myself emptying buckets and spraying water every day. Too much work for too little return. So with my second rabbitry, I built a building where the waste could drop directly onto the ground to be moved to the garden twice a year via wheelbarrow. The rabbits are in hanging cages 3 feet above the ground, and I left plenty of space for proper airflow to keep the rabbits cool in summer and the ammonia to a minimum. Now, fail number 2 is a big one and one of my least favorites. It is water. After predators, water is often the bane of many farmers' existence. You have to have it, and getting it from one place to another is often difficult, expensive, and fraught with issues. And what do you get when you mix water and soil? Mud. And what do you get when you mix water and freezing temperatures? Mother effing ice. I've had an ongoing battle with ice and my waters every year. I've watched countless YouTube videos and designed and redesigned and redesigned and redesigned my watering systems. And yet the first real freeze of the year, bam, my PVC pipes burst in 10 different places. I spend weeks recalibrating, adding pumps or warmers, but I still haven't found the key to keeping them solid all winter long. And ice doesn't just ruin winter for animals. It can also make living in a tiny house a nightmare. I've had 2 houses on my property with couples trying to fix up their homes so they could live in them, but neither lasted for more than 4 months. In both cases, I pre-warned the tenants that any pipes placed outside the house would freeze unless properly heated directly. Did those men listen to me? Absolutely not. And did their pipes freeze? Yeah. Absolutely yes. So that brings me to fail number 3, heating. The off-grid life sounds idyllic, but what people don't consider is the difficulty of heating a small space primarily with wood. A house needs to be designed around the wood stove and how to keep it warm, not burning hot or freezing cold. My answer to this? Don't live in a tiny house where it's cold or have a lot of down. You have to cut the wood very small to fit in your tiny wood stove, so you have to feed the fire constantly. But then, if you are constantly feeding the fire, it gets too hot. So you let the fire die down, and then in 20 minutes, because your house isn't properly insulated, it's really freezing again, making mornings dreadful. If you all have any design answers to this, I would love to hear them. But as nasty as all those fails sound, the worst is fail number 4, death. I once heard a vet say the worst animal to treat was a rabbit, because all rabbits want to do is die. And yes, I have killed and butchered over 100 rabbits, but the death of any animal, both by my hands or through foul play, is always painful. Babies love to die, and in the wild, the moms just eat them. I lost my first 2 litters by my inexperience. I didn't see the male fall off during copulation, so I didn't think the moms were pregnant. When I came down to the rabbitry one morning, a month later, to find half dead and partially eaten baby bunnies in the corner of the cage, I quickly grabbed the nest box. The babies didn't survive, but I always learned to count gestation days and put nest boxes in, whether I think the mom is pregnant or not. I still make the occasional mistakes in times of personal stress, but for the most part, I keep all but the smallest and weakest buns alive. As for grown animals, if you properly do your research, you find out that trendy, animal-friendly ways are often the most deadly. For example, everyone loves a rabbit tractor. Unfortunately, they are a huge pain in the ass to move, predators can often get in, and they are directly in the ground with their waste and parasites. I have yet to meet a farmer who actually sticks with tractors long term. So, why is it important to be honest about what it really takes to homestead? Because in our world, 2 types of people eat from backyard farms: the rich bougies and the poor subsistent farmers. For homestead influencers, it's usually a hobby. The husband has a fancy job that pays the bills, and if the crop is taken by a herd of deer or a flock is decimated by a predator, it's fine. You just buy more, you give up. But to the subsistence farmers of the world, those failures can truly be devastating. As for me, I am just grateful I have the means to learn by my failures on how to succeed in designing a farm, and who doesn't love a baby bunny? I mean, come on. Thank you very much.